And it's that time again. Welcome to CramTime. Welcome to another video. Today we're bringing back the tier list series. And we're tier ranking the easiest AP classes to self-study. If that sounds interesting, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, join the movement, and let's get right into the video. As always, I'm going to quickly define these categories and then we'll get on with the ranking. At the top of this tier list, we have the easy category. These are exams that you can easily self-study for and get 5s, or maybe if you're unlucky, get a 4 on. Then the next category is the meh category. You can self-study it and you'll probably get a 4, maybe a 3 if you're unlucky. Then I have the I don't know category, and that's if I'm not sure how self-studying would go for that exam, because I don't want to give you guys false information or assumptions. And then we have the tough category, exams that would just be very difficult to self-study for while at home. And finally, the not worth it. These exams are either impossible to self-study or they're just not going to give you any credit. So it's a waste of your time. So I hope you take all this under advisement. And now let's get right into the ranking. Guys, I'd really appreciate it if you drop this video a like. I put in a lot of time into making sure that I very accurately made this list, because I understand that a lot of you guys are going to be doing virtual school for the next year, are basically going to be self-studying anyway. So I just want to let you guys know if you need to make any last minute schedule adjustments or change your focus and change your priorities. So I hope this is really valuable to you, and I put in a lot of time to make sure that it was valuable. So I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button. Now let's get right into it. I'm going to start with ranking AP Chemistry as a class of self-study, and I'm going to say chemistry is a not worth it class for self-studying. And I'll tell you why. I don't think chemistry credit is not worth it. I think it is very much worth it. I think it's quite valuable if you're going to anything in the sciences. So that credit translates well to college. It's a difficult class. It shows rigor. It prepares you for that major. So it's a good investment of time. But if you're doing it outside of class, what value are you really getting? And it's extremely hard to self-study for. I know from the experience of many peers who tried self-studying for chemistry on a whim, maybe 3 or 4 weeks before, it doesn't really work out that well. So unless you're very diligent and focused on the chemistry field, I don't think you'd be successful doing it. So I'd say it's not worth self-studying. Now, moving on to art. Art, of course, there's various art AP exams, but I'm not really qualified to speak on it. So I'm going to put it into the I don't know section. And if any of you feel qualified to comment on it, please do that below, and I'll pin it so everyone else can see it. Same goes for music theory, so we'll get that out of the way. Now, AP Literature. AP Literature is a weird one. This is, of course, the English class, usually senior year. It's really easy. It's not correlated to the course content at all that much. I must have read 5 or 6 books throughout the year, and none of them had any correlation to really what I wrote on my literature exam. Granted, I took it online, but I took it online as an AP exam. But it was just essay writing skills again, which I learned in Lang. So you don't really need to be in class for literature. You can self-study it. I'm not going to say it's easy though. I'm going to say it's a meh, because you do need those Lang skills, so it's not completely independent, but it's quite manageable. So now Comparative Government is going to be your first easy self-studying class. CompGov is only half a semester of a class. It's just fall semester or just spring semester, and it's really quite easy. A lot of it builds off of AP Government itself, and although it is a little difficult, because you're learning about different countries' governmental systems like Iran and Mexico. And I mean, Mexico is quite similar to the US. A lot of countries use the US Constitution as a framework for building their government. But I mean, that's not really relevant to this video. But yeah, it's quite simple. You can self-study it, and I think you could be really successful doing it. So if you're going into that gov field, law field, yeah, you can put in a little time. Honestly, you can study like 3 weeks leading up to the exam and do just fine. Now, AP Stats. I'm notorious for saying that AP Stats is a very easy class. But it's a math class, also an essay writing class. And although it's simple, it's only simple because you've spent a whole year diligently learning the exact way to write the stats answers for the AP readers. If you're doing that on your own, I think it would be very difficult. So I'd put it in the tough category. which may shock a few of you that are regular listeners to me because I always talk about how easy stats is. But learning it online is something completely different. And as many of you have figured out, it's really, really hard to stay focused when you're at home. So I'm just going to factor all that in and tell you guys that it's a tough class to study for. And if you're not following these videos and don't already know this, I think you should subscribe to the channel. My aim is to provide a lot of value to you guys so you guys can grow and succeed. And I'd really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button because I know that you guys are appreciating and finding value in my content. Now, moving on, Lang. I talked about Lang when I was talking about literature, and I'd also put that one in the meh category because I'll tell you this. These skills for Lang, although they get refined throughout your junior year, during Lang, and I feel like a lot of them are very similar to the skills that you learned in 4th grade and 7th grade if you're from Texas and you took the STAR tests. But if you guys have state testing, you must have had writing tests leading up to it, and you learn about these rhetoric and using these skills and using these literary devices to send a message, and it's essentially the same thing, and I really, really think that you can learn and develop it on your own, probably more successfully than in the class, because you write in your own creative way, and that gets the attention of AP readers. So now, Euro I've heard is very difficult. The content is very difficult, but again, I don't feel qualified to tell you guys that you shouldn't self-study a class, or you should if I don't have a very, very trusted source, or I haven't taken it myself. So I'm going to put it into the I don't know. If any of you feel qualified to speak on it, please do in the comment section below. I'll pin it. So, yep, moving on. AP Bio. Now, another thing I'm notorious for is talking about how horrible AP Bio is. And that said, I'm going to contradict myself a little here when it comes to self-studying, and I'm going to say it's a meh class. I tell everyone AP Bio is going to be a very painful class to sit in all year long. But if you're not sitting in there, a lot of people are very successful with biology as a subject outside of school. The SAT biology, molecular, or I think environmental, those were the two. And people are very, very successful in those, and they use those SAT subject tests, and they get into very good schools because bio is actually a subject that is interesting if you're studying it on your own with, minimal projects and things to go along with it. And you can really get into it, and you can really consume a lot of information, and you can be successful. So now moving on, AP Human Geography. Now the majority of people taking AP Hug, who would be taking AP Hug, would be freshmen. And if you're a freshman, I highly suggest you don't self-study for an AP exam at this point. But if you're not a freshman, I think AP Hug is a very easy class to self-study. Genuinely, I think it's pretty much common sense looking back, and you already have those AP skills built up, so you can be very, very successful, especially as an upperclassman taking AP Hug self-studying. Genuinely, you could start like a month before the exam and still be successful. By the way, I don't know if this interests you guys, but I have a very specific way of studying for AP exams that's been very, very successful for me. I've taken, I think, 14 AP exams, maybe 16 now, and only 3 of them I haven't gotten 5s on, and that is because I use the same free online textbooks to study for each exam 2 days before, and that's how I refresh everything in my mind, and then I go take that exam, and I usually do well. So if that kind of knowledge would be of value to you, hit that like button, let me know in the comment section, and I'll make a video on it, because if it can help you guys and add some value, then I'll go ahead and tell you guys everything I know. So moving on, I think I'll do 2 more, and then we'll conclude this video and do a part 2. So subscribe and turn on notifications for that. Now, macroeconomics, I think, is a meh class. Now, I'll tell you this. Macro, for me, I got a 5 on. I'll tell you my story. I took it in fall semester because it's only a 1-semester class, and I had 5 months leading up to that AP exam that I didn't study at all for macro. And I started studying like 2 weeks before, and I felt very, very comfortable taking that test. So I think it's a very easy exam to self-study for. And but I did put in a lot of effort in those 2 weeks, so that's why I want to make it a meh, because I really, really focused. And now AP Environmental Science, APES, Envi-Sci. Regardless, I think it's an easy AP exam to self-study for. It's, again, one of those classes, just like bio, I think it's very interesting if you're not like burdened by the class structure itself. it's very, very, very interesting. And you read things like Love Canal and like the whole Flint, Michigan situation. And it really resonates with you because you've seen it in the news so many times throughout your life. It's really interesting. So you stay focused, you learn. And I think that you really retain that knowledge. I retained a lot of that knowledge, even though I took the class like over 2 years ago. Um, so yeah, you remember it, you regurgitate it on that test, and you will be successful. I would say out of all of them, APES is the one I think that is the most enjoyable to self-study for. And I'm quite confident that all of you would be very successful if you decided to do that. So yeah, that concludes this video. If you liked it, hit that like button, comment down below, subscribe. It helps the algorithm push it so I can reach more people, create more value. And that just lets me know that you guys like the videos, so I'll keep making more of the same content. So yeah, I really, really appreciate you guys for clicking on the video and spending your time watching my videos. I make sure that I make it valuable to you guys. And yeah, I really appreciate your time. So thank you. I'll see you on the next video, and take it easy.